It was Thanksgiving and I felt so pretty. I had a skirt on, I had boots on, but then I had like a little camisole on and then a cardigan over the camisole. And then I got a call. Just wanted to ask you about just how you felt about your outfit. And I was like, what do you mean about my outfit? We've seen it in the movies, the search for a fountain of youth said to restore one's youth or cure anything. Newsflash, it was never found. But hey, there is a supplement called Collagen, and Ancient Nutrition provides 3 different flavors: chocolate, vanilla, and pure. Ancient Nutrition's multi-collagen advanced lean is delicious and easy to work into your daily routine by mixing it into your morning coffee, matcha, or your favorite smoothie. This formula is powered by clinically studied ingredients that promote fat loss and healthy weight management. Ancient Nutrition's mission is to create high-quality protein supplements that combine the best research with modern formulas. Collagen can reduce joint discomfort and improve the look and growth of your skin, hair, and nails. And right now, Ancient Nutrition is offering 25% off your first order when you go to ancientnutrition.com/CCB. That's ancientnutrition.com/CCB for 25% off your first order. ancientnutrition.com/CCB. Life is like a roller coaster, but it's better when we go through it together. Welcome to the Candace Cameron Bure Podcast. We're here to share conversations about life's challenges, celebrations, and everything in between. Season 9 is about girls under pressure with Natasha Bure and Allie Schnacky. Come join us. Hi, ladies.
Hi. Hey.
You ready for another conversation?
We're ready.
Let's do it.
This is a good one.
It is a good one. We're talking about fashion today. Fashion and modesty.
What a word.
That word gets such a bad rap.
It does. So true.
Yeah. People have gotten in trouble for using that word. And yet it's a word that we as the church love to use.
Right.
I mean, it is a really good word, modesty, but it can be used in, it can be used to hurt people. It can be used to shame people. And, I don't know. I have all kinds of feelings associated with the word modesty. How do you guys feel about it?
I love that we're talking about fashion and modesty, because for me, what I've really believed is my truth, at least what God showed me, is that fashion and modesty are 2 completely different things. Fashion to me is, my style, what I choose to wear, what I think best represents the personality that God's created me with, where modesty is more like a heart posture, because I truthfully believe I can be fully clothed from head to toe and still be immodest if my heart posture is to seek attention and approval from people.
Ooh, starting this show off with fire.
It's true. It's true.
It is true. What about you, Natasha?
I agree.
When did you get quiet?
No, I completely agree. I don't know. She literally took the words out of my mouth. So it was all true.
Well, let's talk about fashion, because I love fashion. I've always loved fashion since I was young. I know that growing up on television really shaped my view of fashion. One of my favorite things to do before every episode of Full House was go into the costume department and you would get fitted. There's a rack of clothes. You try on clothes and see what outfits, will be for what scenes throughout that episode. So knowing that every week I was going to go into this closet that wasn't mine and they were getting clothes for me to wear was so exciting. And that gave me a sense of loving fashion and style. And then I got to work with wonderful costumers, costume designers. So they would tell me, what was trendy, what looked good, how to pair an outfit with, would a belt work well here? Or what kind of shoe? What could you accessorize it with? So having their expertise and input since I was 10 years old just made me absolutely fall in love with fashion.
You lived every girl's Hannah Montana closet dream.
Totally.
I walked in your closet earlier and I said to the girls who were with me, oh, what it would be like to walk in and have everything in your size.
I know.
So fun.
And for those of you, when we're at the office here, I do have all the CCB clothing line on the racks in that office.
Oh, that's your clothing line?
Yeah, which is what
that's
you
fun.
see. Yeah. So, I started that clothing line so much so because I love fashion.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. Do you guys, you guys are very fashionable. So I'm assuming you both love fashion, or do you wake up and look forward to what you're going to get dressed in for the day, or do you dread it?
I have one of two modes, as you know. I have.
Oh, this I do know. Do
and
share.
It's so funny because, I on my social media, I would say I'm a fairly fashionable gal, but in real life, I look otherwise. I'm usually in sweats and like a big t-shirt, and I have no makeup on, and my hair is in a bun, and I don't care about fashion at all. But if I have places to be, I love dressing up. And it's honestly such a fun way to, I feel like, to express yourself and just whatever mood you're in and whatever you're vibing with that day. I don't know. It's very fun. I love it.
I feel like growing up, it's so funny because before we started filming this episode, I had pretty much half of the crew here approving my outfit because fashion does not come normal to, like, it's not normal to me.
Okay.
It was never something that I grew up around. I think when I really started to maybe pique an interest in fashion and cared a little bit more about what I wore was when my brother started dating his girlfriend, who is literally drop dead gorgeous, like has the best style ever, grew up in New York City, did a lot of like runway, wanted to go to school for fashion design. And so she came around and I was like, man, homegirl has it together.
Yeah.
And so she would kind of like help me and my brother and our family with our styles. And I actually started to realize, and this is what changed my mind about the whole entire concept of fashion, that when I dressed a certain way, I presented myself differently.
Yep, absolutely.
Like, and people respected me more based off of what I wore. And last night, as I was even thinking about this topic, I was researching, and it's actually psychologically proven that when you're dressed up, when you're taking care of the way that you look, or you feel confident in your clothing, that you approach situations better, that you can think faster.
Yeah.
I think CEOs said 95% of their hiring process is based off of what people wear because it makes them respect them more. And I mean, I've seen this in my own life, but very much like you, Natasha, on a normal basis, I live in Florida where it's 100 degrees out and we wear sweatpants and sweatshirts in the heat. So
not shorts.
Oh no. You'll know real Floridians because they're in the sweatsuits and you're like, how are you even breathing right now? That's us.
Yeah.
I know Natasha Natasha's the firstborn. So when they said, oh, it's a girl, I got very excited because I thought, oh, I'm going to dress her like a little doll. Like I can't wait to have all of these fashion moments with her. And Natasha growing up did not want to really wear girl clothes. She wanted to wear her brother's basketball.
I still my dad's and my brother's clothing.
I know you had Papa's t-shirt on last night. He was like, excuse me, are you wearing my shirt?
Because I said, can I borrow some of your clothes for, this episode? And then he goes, are you going to ask to borrow my clothes? Because you're wearing them right now.
Yeah. So Natasha wasn't into fashion as a young girl at all.
That's
and
wild.
She wouldn't even let me brush her hair. It was like
I would
nothing.
never guess that about you.
I was such a tomboy growing up because,
What in the world?
both of my brothers were all so close in age that I just felt like I felt like the first son, not the third son, but I just kind of felt like we all did the same sports and did the same activities. There was really no differentiating us in terms of like the way that they parented us or
the way that I bought you
you
cute
bought me
outfits
things
that you would not ever wear.
But listen, hear me out. Literally, I went to school where we had to wear uniform, and then on the weekends, every single weekend until I was maybe 15 or 16, I was on a tennis court. I was playing tournaments. I lived in sports clothes. So I just genuinely at that point had no interest and no energy to put on a cute outfit or to brush my hair, to do anything. So in my free time, I was like, I'll just wear my brother's gym clothes. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know what though, too? Guys' clothes are just so much more comfortable than girls' clothes.
They are.
And they're cheaper. They're cheaper.
Yeah.
I know. But, as someone who loves fashion, I have to say my heart was so happy when Natasha decided that she suddenly enjoyed getting dressed. And
yeah.
and picking out cute clothes.
Do you remember the first moment she walked out in like makeup in a fancy outfit?
I certainly do. Only the makeup part, because your foundation was so dark. And I told this story.
Oh, yeah.
I remember in middle school, I would always go through her makeup. Like since I was little, I always loved mascara or like just things, even though I would never wear them, I just would always go through her things. And then I started to get a little bit of acne. And I remember like one day before school, I went through your drawer and I put on you like a cream foundation of some sort. And I just like did a swipe in here. And it was like orange because she was so much tanner than me at the time.
Orange
no,
face,
Mom, you were, trust me, because you told me
more bright.
out.
No, you told Mom, you know, you go get tan.
No, I'm tan, but can we not call it orange? I don't think it was orange.
And also, yeah, I don't know, but I just remember, and she was like, you need to go look in a mirror, because I did it in the dark too, because I didn't want them to know I was putting on makeup. So I remember the first time I, dabbled in the makeup world.
It's so funny.
It's really cute. I don't remember the first outfit. I remember like when she was 4, she did put on a really cute outfit that I had bought, and there were some pictures of her in it. And I was like, finally. But it wasn't until she got way older that she got into clothes and fashion. And what do you think like changed for both of you if you weren't really into it? Well, you told us it was your brother's girlfriend and that kind of clicked.
For sure.
And did you feel different once you started wearing different clothes? Did it then make you want to go shopping and pick out?
Yeah, for sure. Like, honestly, I think a reason why it's not even that I didn't like fashion in the beginning. And I think a lot of people can relate to this. I just didn't even know where to start. I didn't know what matched with what. I didn't know what was trendy, what was not trendy. I would literally wear gym shorts and flip-flops to school. My best friend would make fun of me just because I just didn't know better. I didn't care. Nobody in my family knew. And so when somebody came beside me and actually began to show me, hey, this is how it works. Also, you don't have to just be one thing. You can dress in a ton of different styles. Like you can experiment with a ton of different things. I realized I don't have to be boxed. Like I don't have to have everything perfect, especially being in LA. The first time I came, I remember seeing people walking on the street and thinking to myself, those are some ratchet outfits, but they were so free and so trendy and everyone was so accepting of them that it really took that, I think, peer pressure weight to have it all figured out off of me to where I could really just enjoy it and it was fun.
Yeah. At what point in your lives did you realize, okay, I'm enjoying fashion. I like getting dressed. I'm free to dress and try different styles. When, as a young Christian woman, did you ever feel convicted that like, oh, I like this outfit, but maybe it's not honoring, or maybe I'm actually getting so many looks from guys that I don't know, I like it, or maybe I'm uncomfortable. Was there ever a conviction moment for you guys when it came to dressing fashionably?
Yeah, I know I did certainly not dress modestly at all, especially when I had graduated high school. I think it's somewhere with anything. If you get a reaction one time, maybe, and you kind of see heads turning or something like that, there is like a little rush of excitement. Like, okay, I got a little bit of attention for wearing this, so maybe I'm going to wear it again. And so I remember when I was, I had graduated high school and I started going out with all of these new friends. I adopted their style, which honestly just was not how I would have dressed myself. And I remember it got a lot of male attention. And at the time, maybe I liked a guy or, whatever. And I was like, okay, well, maybe this is going to help or things like that. And then we had this conversation just, earlier about heart posture and, why am I wearing the things that I'm wearing? Is it because I'm comfortable and I actually feel really beautiful in this, or is it to get somebody's attention? And I think when I really started to take a step back and realize, okay, I would be wearing this because I want attention versus like I'm wearing this because it makes me feel confident and I feel empowered and I'm loving the way that this is styled. That's where I have to take a step back and say, okay, I need to adjust some things.
Honestly, something that I wish people would have told me, because they're so quick to judge when it comes to modesty. Like when you're a Christian, if you go out one time into the wrong place where Christians are and you're not wearing what they like, they'll make it known to you, right?
Oh yeah, they will.
And a lot of times not in a nice, loving way. A lot of times they'll whisper behind your back. You'll get weird looks from them. You'll feel unwanted even in the church. And growing up in the church, I even felt like that. Like there was no grace or real love in the conversations at all. And something I wish I would have been told was that modesty is a complete journey, because truthfully, what I wore 3 years ago that I had no conviction about, and I loved God, I was pursuing him, I probably wouldn't wear now. Just because I really believe that God refines you for the next place that he has for you. And I have so many stories that God has just done refining who I am, how I view myself. And a lot of it has to do with my heart posture. Actually, something that I made the habit of doing when I was in high school was whenever I liked a guy, when I was in high school, I wasn't allowed to date. I told you guys this, but what I was allowed to do was invite them to church. So whenever I had a crush at school or I had a crush on social media, I would always invite them to my church because that's where I could kind of loophole everything, get away with it. I remember this time in particular, I had invited this guy to meet me at my church. And before the service, I was just in my room, stressing out, panicking. Clothes were flinging across the room. Like my room is just a disaster all the time because I can never decide what to wear. And I remember in my heart, like the Lord saying, like, Allie, you better put on your sweatpants and wear no makeup. Wet your hair and go to church, the purest, simple form of who you are. Because if this guy is really who I have for you, he is going to be attracted to what's inside of you, not just what you look like.
Wow.
And I didn't even know about this verse at the time, but I wrote it down because it impacted me so much. And it says in 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 3, it says, your beauty should not come from outward adornment, such as braiding your hair or gold jewelry or fine clothes, but the inner disposition of your heart, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is very precious in the Lord's sight. And so it would be easy for me to say when I went, I felt so confident or whatever, but I really didn't. I went to church. I was obedient. I looked like trash in my opinion, right? But I was so confident that I knew the Lord had called me to do that. And that if this was what he had for me, he was going to love me for who I am, the part about me that's not going to fade away. And so I met this guy this night. We had a great time and he ended up liking me. And I remember in that moment, like it healing something on the inside of me. Like I don't have to seek approval from people by just my exterior, but really the interior is the most interesting thing about me. Something me and Natasha both say is the way that you look is the least important thing about you.
Yeah.
And it's so true.
Yeah. But I think that's a hard thing, especially at my age, it's still difficult.
Yeah.
And I think it's very hard at your age because there's such a presentation, especially on social media. It's what we see. We do like share our clothes, share our outfits. And again, can come from a great heart place. That's where mine comes from. But it can be such a struggle for young girls trying to find their value and worth because they look cute, they're dressed cute, and not feeling worthy if they don't feel like they have the latest fashion trends.
Yeah. Yeah, I do want to clarify too. I don't want to take it to another extreme and say that if you love God, you can't dress cute. Like you have to have your hair wet and no makeup or anything like that all the time.
Right.
Because the truth is I really believe if we read the word of God, he's an excellent God. And that's why I think I so enjoy getting ready for church and going into God's house, like looking my best because he deserves it. And as his ambassadors, the body of Christ, I really actually do think we're called to look good.
Yeah.
You know, hold ourselves well. We're going to talk about body image, like taking care of our bodies. But I did want to clarify that because so many times too, we think, oh, if they're a Christian, they can't wear this or do that. Or why do you care about materialistic things when really it could just be a passion of your heart?
Yeah,
you know,
for sure. I agree. I feel the same way. And yet I always have to remind myself too, because it's just so easy to look in judgment, especially at church or church settings when you see someone and you see a girl and you're like, oh, that skirt is way too short. Oh, her boobs are hanging out way too much. And then I will remind myself and I'm like, but she's here. I don't know where she is at in life. What if this is the first time she's here? I don't know that. I'm glad she's here. Come as you are. And I know as women, as girls, I'm glad in terms of culture, it's shifted more and we're trying to share like women together are better, like let's encourage and empower, but there's still such a culture of cattiness between women. And it's so easy to look at someone and just judge them up and down based on their clothes, which is just, it just convicts me. I share that because it's convicting. I remember a time in my life when I had all 3 kids, but you guys were still like fairly young, you know, maybe 10 at the oldest. And it was Thanksgiving and I felt so pretty. I had a skirt on that was like an A-line skirt past my knees. I had boots on because it was, you know, probably 85 degrees out, but I was dressing for fall because I just...
Who doesn't love it?
Fall and it's Thanksgiving. I'm going to dress it even if the weather doesn't call for it. But then I had like a little camisole on and then a cardigan over the camisole. And I had a long necklace. And anyway, Thanksgiving was great. I had a wonderful time. I felt so pretty, all the things. And then I got a call the next morning from my brother and my mom, 2 separate calls that were like, hey, it was great to see you at Thanksgiving, blah, 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 great time. and then they, you know, individually, but like in their own ways, just wanted to ask you about just how you felt about your outfit. And I was like, what do you mean about my outfit? And they were like, just like there was just a lot of cleavage and the necklace was just drawing attention to it. And I was like, oh, I had no idea, like wasn't my intention. It made me feel pretty crummy. It really did. I felt shameful in the moment because I'm like, well, that's not what I was trying to do. I'm married and have 3 kids. I'm with my family. Yeah. My point wasn't to show a lot of cleavage, but I guess I didn't realize what it looked like from the outside or so, you know. And then when my mom told me in the same thing, I was like, okay, it's not just coming from one person and it's coming from 2 people that I really love. And it hurts. It hurt me to hear it. You were talking about heart posture, and my heart posture, I felt actually quite modest because everything was pretty covered up, but I guess that area was more exposed than I realized, or people felt uncomfortable or drawn to look at that area. So it was one of those things that I had to sit on it and really pray over it because it didn't feel good to hear it. But when I prayed and asked God about it, I'm like, what is it that you want me to learn? Okay, am I just supposed to throw that blouse out, that camisole? Is it just, that's it? Or is this something about like, am I subconsciously exposing something? Or if I'm not, can you just help me to process this? Because it really isn't my intention to do that. But I also don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable. Like there's just so many things that go along with modesty and what other people's take of modesty is, as well as your own. So as I've grown, I've gone through, I think, a lot of different, not only feelings and emotions, but understanding of what modesty means. And at the end of the day, my conclusion that I've come to is that I have to feel good about it between me and God.
100%.
Agreed.
I also want to feel good about it between me and my husband. That's my other main point of reference. Like if my husband ever felt that something didn't feel appropriate, like that doesn't take but 2 seconds to say, okay, I'm changing that.
Yeah.
But really, when it comes to other people, I listen to people that are trusted people in my life. Because if it was just someone off the street, I might throw it out and say, you know what, you don't get to speak into me that way because I don't know you, you don't know me.
Right.
But when it came from really trusted family members, I was like, okay, I will listen to that. But now at the end of the day, I'm like, I just have to feel good about it between me and God. But I check myself all the time, you know, when I put on an outfit, and it can be tricky, especially as a Christian and being in the public eye because everyone wants to scrutinize everything that you're wearing. I've been in front of the camera my whole life, so I'm pretty seasoned as to what makes me feel comfortable on and off screen when it comes to makeup. So I was pleasantly surprised and delighted by Adele Natural Cosmetics. Adele carries everything for your daily skincare needs as well as color cosmetics and so much more. They offer personalized customer service with real people, and they even provide complimentary foundation color matching. All you have to do is reach out to customer service and ask. I have personally been using the highlighter glow stick and the bronzer stick. Both products are super creamy, but not in a way that's overpowering, and they blend to perfection. And not to mention how long they both last, even on some of the busiest days. So follow Adele on Instagram. That's at Adele Natural Cosmetics for lots of tutorials, behind the scenes, and encouraging content. And then use my one-time use code for 25% off your first order. Use the code Candace for 25% off your first order. After a long day of responsibilities, something in your home should feel like a refuge from the outside world where you can find comfort and tranquility in the midst of a hectic life. Cozy Earth's bamboo sheet set is made with a temperature-regulated, durable fabric that won't pill to help you sleep several degrees cooler. Guaranteed for 10 years. The ultimate ingredient for a luxurious sleep is softness. Cozy Earth uses only the best fabrics and textiles to enhance a good night's rest. Whether you're winding down at night or having a slow morning, Cozy Earth also provides the softest bamboo sleepwear. Perfect for any season. They're cozy enough for relaxing with your favorite book or devotional, but still stylish enough to feel put together. Cozy Earth takes pride in the responsible production of everything they make. And don't forget, Cozy Earth bedding and bath products have a 10-year warranty. Visit CozyEarth.com/Candace and use my exclusive 40% off code Candace. If you get a post-purchase survey, say that you heard about Cozy Earth from this podcast. Create your own sanctuary with Cozy Earth. Grand Canyon University, a private Christian university in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona, believes that we're endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. GCU believes in equal opportunity, and the American dream starts with purpose. By honoring your career calling, you impact your family, your friends, and your community. Change the world for good by putting others before yourself to glorify God. Whether your pursuit involves a bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree, GCU's online, on-campus, and hybrid learning environments are designed to help you achieve your unique academic, personal, and professional goals. With over 340 academic programs as of September 2024, GCU meets you where you are and provides a path to help you fulfill your dreams. The pursuit to serve others is yours. Let it flourish. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu. Have you guys ever gotten judged over what you've worn on social media? Have you ever gotten called out?
I know I have for sure. And I was sharing this with Natasha, but when I first started TikTok, I was revealing a lot more skin than I did now. And I think subconsciously, I never really knew that I was doing it out of a place of seeking approval from people. Looking back now, I see that definitely played a part. But I really just thought that it was cute, it was trendy, and I was putting it out there, and it was doing good. Like, I realized my content did better when I dressed cuter, which showed more skin. And I didn't see a difference back. Like, my head space wasn't there. And I want to make that really clear, because you had just said on Thanksgiving, you were perceived a certain way, but your head space wasn't there. And even in church, like what you were saying with that example, it's so important that when we do confront people, that it is in that love. Because the truth is the first way to humble us before we go up to someone is to realize that I was that person. I was the person that probably wore something to church that they weren't supposed to. And I wish somebody would have come up to me and given me the benefit of the doubt. But when I first started posting on social media, I did get comments about the clothes that I wore, because I was leading Bible study and wearing these clothes. And they weren't like super skimpy or anything. They just aren't where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And I would write them off because I thought to myself, like, this is not, I mean, look at everything everybody else is wearing. And I would almost gauge what I could wear based off of what the culture around me was wearing instead of gauging what I wore based off of who Christ was. And a revelation that the Lord has given me recently, and you guys can bear with me because this is really fresh, but I really feel like God's trying to show me something in this, okay? Is I actually found this scripture, and I've never heard this said before in a way of modesty, but the scripture says in Romans chapter 13, verse 14, to put on the Lord Jesus Christ and make no provision for the desires of the flesh. And I realized, what does it really mean to put on Christ? And when I really start to dissect and think about putting on Christ in my life, waking up every single day, reading my Bible, reminding myself of what God says about me, putting on Christ, realizing I'm his ambassador. If I start with that first, everything else in my life is taken care of. I know that what I pick when I pick my outfits, it's not out of a place of needing attention, like you said, or feeling like I'm lacking in a certain area, having to prove myself. But I'm already in a place of fullness, knowing my identity is found in the beauty from within me. I know what my creator says about me. And now I can go and I can pick something based off of what I like to wear, what I think is fun, what I think, is trendy, what represents me well. And so I don't know, that's kind of a revelation that the Lord's been giving me recently. But going back to what you said, I still have comments about the things that I wear, but I'm the same way. I just realized, God, you've already grown me so far. It's between me and you. And if nobody else gets that, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because I can't please anyone, everybody.
Yeah. I would say that in a public platform, in a public platform setting, for sure.
I definitely have experienced it, but I just was flat out. I don't even know what I was doing. I wasn't wearing anything like remotely modest at a certain time. So I feel like those comments were not even coming from like a place of.
What do you mean that people had that they were right in saying the comments?
Oh, I'm just saying that I think that like the outfits that I was wearing at the time just was so opposite, reflecting like what I was about, So when they saw it, I feel like people were just so confused, like, I just don't get it. Why are you wearing this stuff? Which was super convicting for me to go, okay, yeah, I don't even know, like, why am I wearing this? And for me to dig deeper and go, okay, well, is it because I think that this is cool or this is trendy, or is it because of attention? So like, I definitely have been there. And then now I'll get, a comment here and there about what I'm wearing and not being modest. But I think that I've had such a transition, even with the way that I approach my fashion and modesty and what that means to me, that if I do get comments, they do truly roll off my back more than they used to, just because I know where my heart is. And again, like, I truly don't think that I wouldn't want to put out something that would encourage someone to wear something that like I wouldn't approve of, Yeah.
Yeah, it can be a tricky topic. I think Matthew West had a song that he put out a couple of years ago that like modesty is hottest or something. And it was actually a very cute song, but he got so much backlash for it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, also, sorry to like cut you off.
Yeah.
I just feel like in modesty, at least in our schools, because I went to a Christian school growing up, and modesty was like very covered up, like our skirts had to be a certain length. Every single time we actually came to school, we had to measure like upon walking in the door without fail. And my dad would drop me off early, and there would always be the teacher there, and she would have you measure your skirt, and you had to be wearing a certain thing. And I think that, of course, you want to be mindful, but then it does put a damper, not necessarily like the length of certain things, but when you are talking about in the context of modesty, and then you're making people wear like super ugly things, it doesn't make you feel beautiful. I never felt super beautiful going to school because the outfits were ugly. Like it's true. They made them so ugly so that no boy would ever want to look at you. And
it's so true.
Okay.
Because you're there for school.
No, Mom, of course.
You're supposed to study.
No, okay. You're like 60% there for school.
But
60.
yeah. And also when you're wearing something that makes you, I don't want to talk about whatever.
I totally understand. When you're wearing something that doesn't make you feel beautiful for the sake of modesty, it suppresses your confidence, and you don't feel good.
Right. And that's my point, is there is a fine line of, you obviously want to be modest and uphold yourself in a way that's respectful, but I also want to feel beautiful. And I also want to express who I am through fashion. I want to be able to do that. And so I think that the word modesty just has such a bad rap, especially in certain, cultures and areas and things, because at least when I was younger, like the modest is hottest was always, it honestly made us look terrible. Like I wore a frumpy button down shirt that wasn't even like fitted. It was like ugly brown. And then like my school skirt was down to here. And then we couldn't even wear like cute shoes. Like my dad made us wear like my tennis sneakers to school. Like I was like, I would rather just wear my brother's outfit at this point, for real. So there is, something about it that I'm like, okay, I don't like the word modesty. And obviously I have such a different approach to it now that I'm older and things like that. But I think that's why, you know what I mean? That's why it does get such a bad rap, is because there are places like that.
I think
no hate to my old school, but whatever.
The part that I struggle with the most when it comes to modesty is that modesty is different for everyone, what their definition of modesty is. And so, what maybe I may have an outfit on that I feel is modest, but it's just not according to someone else. I might feel comfortable showing my shoulders. That may be immodest to someone else. Mm-hmm. And so, I always have to, I kind of pray about it. I always think about, if Jesus were sitting right here, would I be comfortable if he was looking at me? And I'm like, yes, I would feel comfortable if I were in a bathing suit at the beach. Like sometimes the examples are ridiculous, but that's kind of where my line was, or whoever that person is in your life. It's like, if your mom or dad walked in, would they go like, what are you wearing? If you would feel a conviction from anyone, then maybe you want to reconsider that outfit.
And not that it's all about in the context of this, but it's so true, because are you going to walk around in super tiny shorts and like a really thin crop top when you're going out, but like at the beach, you're obviously wearing a bikini and you would feel modest. You're wearing one piece or whatever, but it's in the context of, okay, I'm doing this activity. There's times when I would play tennis and I'm in, a really short skirt or like shorts or whatever. Would I ever wear a shirt? Would I ever wear a skirt or shorts that short normally? No. But in the context of the physical activity that I'm doing, sure, this is what makes me, feel the most confident playing. It's what's the most, accessible for whatever I'm doing. So it's also just in the context of the certain activities that I feel like is important. And then a lot of times that's when people just go, well, why are you wearing that? And then you kind of have to just brush that off.
Yeah. God tells us, to put on humility, put on kindness, put on gentleness, and most of all, put on love. And I think those are the most important things we can clothe ourselves with each and every day before we get dressed, before we decide on our cute outfit, that we put on the love of Christ, we put on the gentleness, the kindness, and the compassion that he gives us through the Holy Spirit.
I so agree. It's actually funny that you brought up the beach, because I just had an experience at the beach when I was with my boyfriend. So my entire life, I've worn bikinis to the beach, entire life, and felt no shame about it at all. Now, there are some in my closet that I might feel a little more uncomfortable with than others, I will say, if I'm just being completely real with you guys. And I wore one of those to the beach not too long ago. And I remember being there just tanning, trying to just not think about it, right? Because at the end of the day, like, I really just want to get a good tan. I was in water polo growing up. And so I had this ugly tan line for such a long time. I just want to get a nice bronze. And my heart wasn't even wrong in it, but I did feel this little tug on my spirit, like, you feel a little uncomfortable in this. You know what I mean? And my boyfriend, Austin, asked me, he said, hey, Allie, let's go on a walk on the beach, right? And I initially stood up, and this isn't like me because I usually love to walk on the beach. I said, like, no, I can't do that because my bikini is going to like give me a wedgie or like whatever. And then I'm going to have to be self-conscious because everybody's going to be looking at me. And it's just not going to be a good look for who I am, like what I do. And Austin's like, I actually think you look fine. But put on your pants. And I was like, no, you know what? You're fine. I'll just walk on the beach. I'm at the beach. I don't have to worry about it. We do everything, go through all of these mental conversations in our head. And as I was walking, like I thought, my bathing suit starts riding up and I'm just so uncomfortable, having a miserable time. Normally when I would just be having fun, enjoying my life. And I really felt like the question prompted in my head, if a girl were to come up to you right now that like listen to your ministry, would you be excited like you normally would to talk to her, to take a picture with her? Or would you feel ashamed because of the thing that she wore? You'd be like hiding and like timid and like wanted to almost run and hide. And when I realized I wanted to run and hide, I realized like, okay, maybe this just isn't for me anymore. I'm not talking about like, I'll never wear a bikini on the beach again, but I'm saying maybe like that one isn't for me to wear anymore. Sure. You know? And
absolutely.
I think that's a cool thing too, to realize like, you know, sometimes you don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like God is just refining you.
Yeah.
Little by little.
And I love those little steps of growth. You heard the Holy Spirit, you are convicted and you're like, okay, like we're done with this one.
Yeah. And do I love this so much that I'm not willing to give it up for God?
Yeah.
And I think that's where the issue comes in, right?
Yeah.
I feel like also in terms of baby steps and growth, sometimes I found, even in my own personal life, I remember when you feel such a heavy conviction, it's almost so easy to just flip the switch and go all the way to one extreme where then you're like, okay, well, I need to just start dressing in like super long, super modest, like completely covered up and whatever that, you know, whatever that looks like for that person. And then I think that there's also something to be said for style within being a believer and like expressing that, because I don't know if you guys feel this, but in Christian culture, sometimes I feel like there's like the right thing to wear when you go to church. Like you wear something super feminine and like a nice dress, or you look super pretty. And then there's other people that don't feel as comfortable in something super girly, and they might feel comfortable in more of like a streetwear or something like that. And I know that that's conversations that I've had with my friends of finding what makes you the most confident and the most comfortable. And if for you, that's wearing jeans and like a little button up and, you know, something that's a little bit classier, great. If that's wearing a super bright pink flowy dress, that's amazing. If that's wearing cargo pants and cool sneakers and a cardigan, like that's awesome. All of those things are beautiful. And I think the thing that I love is whatever makes you feel the most confident, you're going to shine the brightest in. And that's really what I've learned. And I remember when I was younger, I literally every single weekend, if it was Sunday going to church, or if it was just like a random Saturday on the times when I wasn't playing tennis and I didn't have a tournament, I would wear a different type of style. I remember Dylan, my mom's best friend, gave me this like studded black leather purse. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna like lean into this era right now. And I was like super grunge for one day. And then the next day I'd go to Forever 21 and get this like super preppy skirt. And then the next day I was maybe a little like boho. Like I just loved experimenting and trying and seeing what made me feel the most comfortable. And that's ever changing. Like as I get older, as I grow, sometimes I love dressing a little preppier. And then sometimes I love dressing a little sporty. Like whatever I wake up on that day and feel, I want to be the most confident version of myself. My dad has this great quote, feel good or look good, feel good, play good, you know? And I feel like that's so applicable to just every aspect of life. When you are feeling your best and you're dressed, whatever makes you feel a 10 out of 10, you're able to shine so much better, and you're able to use your words in a way that you might not have been before and have this confidence. And so I don't know. I just feel like there's something to be said about that. I love that.
Oh, it's so good. And
that's
you can't do that being a Christian. Like you can dress so cute being a Christian.
I know.
And if you don't mind, I have one question for you.
Yeah.
Just one question. So when we were talking about you on Thanksgiving, right? And how your mom and your brother reached out to you and just like lightly just said, hey, are you comfortable with what you wore? There is a point in our relationship with people as the body of Christ, we're called to call out things in one another and to call each other higher, not condemn, but like pull higher, right? And so I feel like there's so many people listening to this that could be in that position where there's someone that they love that maybe isn't dressing a way that represents them well, who they really are well. And so what would you say to that person is a good way to ask or confront the person that they love in a way that they don't feel like,
it's hard because even that conversation for me was in love from them, but it really hurt my feelings. I don't think there's an easy way to say it, but if we have trust, I would say only have that conversation if that is a trusted, respected relationship. If you are in, true friendship or familyship with that person. And I would just come at it as gently as possible. And like you said, not in a condemning way, but to say, I'm stumbling saying the words right now because it's just hard to put it in the nicest way of like, God's called you to even more than this or even higher than this. And some, people might see this, perceive you as something else just simply based on what you're wearing.
Sometimes I feel the best way, even the times that I feel like might not have been a plain and simple call out. Right. If someone provokes thought of just like asking a question, it will make me dig deep of like, okay, let me think about this. You might not be saying, I don't like your outfit, but if you ask me a question about my outfit and I start thinking about it, I'm like, oh, okay. And I feel like that's happened multiple times with my friends whenever we're calling each other out in accountability. I don't think it's Jess, especially one of my best friends. She has such a way with words and it never comes across as, I don't think that you should be wearing this. There's been plenty of times where she said, if I've asked her, but whenever I know she's trying to come around to something, she always approaches it with the most gentle, kind spirit and asks more questions, like just inquiring, like, I'm just curious.
Yeah. Like, and where'd you get your dress? Or what do you love about your dress today?
Yeah,
just
I think that's really good.
Yeah, that is really good.
That's really good.
Yeah, let me think about this. And then you're probably going to feel the conviction of the Holy Spirit on your own.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
true.
Okay, we have to get to our listener questions. We have 2 of them today. Kelly asks, how do you instill confidence in your kids? Some of us are just more naturally confident, more confident than others. What would you guys say? What were the things that because you're clearly 2 confident young women.
I would say for me, affirmation is so huge. I need affirmation. I don't need it, but I really appreciate the affirmation. And it could be in little things. It could be in, the way that you dress, or if you did a good job, I don't know, cleaning the house or whatever. There's just like little things that just like a nice pat on the back goes such a long way. And I feel like as parents, that's so important to obviously instill that as your kid. But the other thing that I would say is lead by example. So when you're confident, and I know that that would be, you would have to have someone instilling that in you in the community that you surround yourself with. When you're a parent, if you're able to look in the mirror and say, oh my gosh, I'm beautiful. And you see your mom doing that, or you see your dad and they're all dressed up or whatever, that makes you go, okay, wow, I want to be like that. If you have this constant like negative talk, and if your parent thinks that about themselves, then naturally you're going to go, well, does my parent think that about me?
Right.
Because I don't want to think that. I don't think
That's
that.
Good.
I honestly agree with exactly what she said. The biggest difference in my life, and I said this on the last podcast, was my parents speaking life into me and reminding me of who I was even when I didn't feel it.
That's good. Okay, second question. Autumn says, you always look put together. Thank you. But I know that's not true outside of the camera. Well, I dress myself outside the camera too. I hope I look put together on most days. How did you do it in everyday life? Say something terribly wrong happened the day before, then you had to go to work. How do you keep it together? Yeah, listen, thank you for the compliment. I do really enjoy fashion, so I try to look put together in my everyday life. But you know what? Some days it just doesn't matter. Some days, even at work, it's a sweatpant kind of day.
I just have like a very materialistic answer, but I just thought that,
say it.
Who cares? I mean, one thing that always makes me feel put together is jewelry, and it doesn't have to be super expensive, but this is just like my own little fashion tip. If I am running out the door and I'm literally wearing jeans and a white t-shirt, if I have on cute hoops or a pair of sunglasses or a cute bow in my hair or something, automatically I feel elevated. There's so many little things that can just immediately lift your outfit. And sometimes I'll just keep things in the car in case, whatever. But the amount of girls that will wear, a cute pair of like Uggs and sweats and a regular tank top, but they have on cute earrings and their hair slicked back, and they have on a pair of cute sunglasses. They look expensive. They look nice. And they're just wearing like a bummy outfit, but they look put together.
Yeah.
So on the days where you can't put on something extravagant, you can't, match everything to a T, it's just little things. And I feel like that will elevate your confidence so much.
Oh yeah. My go-to is that slick back hair.
I was just going to say that.
Y'all are going to see that soon. Slick.
On days I don't feel great or wear very little makeup, I just want to slick my hair back in a pony and it's like, this is me.
Yeah.
And it actually gives me confidence. There's way less about me because it's not about my hair. It's not about my makeup. It's not about my outfit that day. So it goes into the slick back pony and I'm like, here I am.
Boss woman.
Yeah.
I can get stuff done when I slick my hair back.
Yes, exactly. Oh, that was a good answer. Guys, this was so good. When life feels full of pressure, practicing gratitude can change your day. We created a gratitude guide for you this season with daily reminders and scripture readings. Go to Candace.com. I forgot my name. Go to Candace.com to find the link, and it's also in our show notes. Until next time, be grateful all day, every day. CandyRock Entertainment, all rights reserved.